Welcome to today's Emunah Minute. We find ourselves in the midst of the 9 days, a period of time that begins with Rosh Chodesh Av, the first of the Hebrew month of Av, and ultimately culminates with the arrival of Tisha B'Av, the fast of the 9th of Av. And these days, we know, are marked by a certain sadness, as the Mishnah Maseches Tainis says, Mishenichnas Av mema'atin b'simcha. When the month of Av enters, we diminish our external displays of joy. These are days for introspection, days for contemplation, days for us to think about, what's gone wrong historically, what's as a nation, as individuals, and how can we turn it around? That's the entire avoda, the entire essence of these days. What's broken and how could we fix it? What's gone wrong and how can we engage in course correction? How could we make sure that we create a future that is different, that is better, that is more beautiful than our past? But it's interesting to note that over the course of the 9 days, there's a fascinating custom. And there's a custom to go ahead and make a seum, to make a celebratory meal that's usually focused on the completion of a tractate on the Talmud. And whereas normally during the 9 days, we don't eat meat and drink wine, if one attends a seum, which then creates a sudas mitzvah, not just any meal, but a mitzvah to have a celebratory meal when finishing a tractate of the Talmud, then one is permitted to go ahead and eat meat and drink wine. And it's interesting to see how the different halachic opinions and schools of thought approach the concept of making a seum. Some take a very restrictive approach and say, listen, it's got to be a genuine seum. It can't be that you're hungry for meat and wine in the middle of the 9 days, you daven something up, right? You learn something up quickly. Or the truth is, I finished the tractate 2 months ago, but I'm just waiting till the 9 days so I can make the seum and eat meat and drink wine. So some take that more restrictive approach. It's got to be, for lack of a better term, a real, legitimate seum. But I saw something beautiful in the name of the Chaim. Chaim is the Rebbe of Siget, one of the ancestors of the Satmarav, Zecher Tzadik V'Kadosh Levracha. And the Chaim says something beautiful. He says, no. He said, it is a mitzvah to make a seum during the 9 days. It's a mitzvah. And even if your entire intention is to intentionally time the seum so that it comes out over the course of the 9 days so you could eat meat and drink wine, the Chaim says it's a meritorious practice. How could it be a And he says something so beautiful. He says, because when you have a seudas mitzvah, when you have a celebratory meal, again, it's got to be rooted in the completion of some type of learning. But when you have a celebratory meal in the middle of the 9 days, and you infuse a ray of light, a ray of joy, celebration, holy simcha, holy happiness into the midst of the 9 days, you're allowing yourself to see what the 9 days, one day will be like. Because in Meretz Hashem, when Mashiach comes, these days are going to be transformed from days of mourning and days of pain and days of sadness into days of intense and incredible celebration. And so when we celebrate the seum in the middle of the 9 days, when we celebrate a seudas mitzvah, a meal that is anchored in spiritual joy, we're actually catching a glimpse of what the 9 days will be in the future, of what the 9 days will be like in the Messianic era. We're giving ourselves a taste, a literal taste of what the 9 days will be like when Mashiach comes. And I was so taken by this idea of the Chaim, because what the Rebbe is trying to teach us is something much more than just how to conduct a proper seum over the course of the 9 days, and that it's a mitzvah to do so. He's teaching us about an approach to dealing with adversity. That sometimes when I find myself in a difficult spot in life, the best thing you could do is visualize your life post-adversity. What is my life going to look like when I navigate out of this difficult time? Because you see, human nature is such that when we encounter adversity, all I see is the adversity. All I see is the difficulty. All I see is the trauma. All I see are the trials and tribulations. I can't see anything past it. And the truth is, I can't even imagine anything past it. But sometimes the best way to go ahead and deal with adversity is, while you're in the midst of it, visualize what life is going to be like after it. Give yourself a vision of your post-adversity life. Give yourself a vision about what your day is going to look like when the stormy seas settle. In fact, David HaMelech says this, David HaMelech says, "Va'ani b'chastecha batachti." He says in Tehillim, Hashem, I have complete trust in your chesed, complete trust in your kindness. Yageli bi b'shuasecha. My heart rejoices in your salvation. And the commentaries point out that because David HaMelech knew that Hashem was going to help him, he was able to rejoice now, even before the actual salvation set in. There's something powerful about being able to visualize your salvation and your redemption even before it comes. Because if you could reach into the future and gain a glimpse of what that salvational moment looks like, you could draw from that. You could draw from that future, and you could bring it back into your present. And you could use it now to help you through whatever it is that you're contending with. Visualize the beautiful life that awaits you. Take a little bit of that, bring it into your present. And even though now you may be contending with a whole bunch of stuff, but that future vision gives you present chizuk. And this, says the Atzei Chaim, is the power of making a seum during the 9 days. Visualizing what will be and using that to give me strength to get through what is now. May we be Zoche Mirz Hashem to get to that time when the 9 days are just a block of time filled with beautiful simcha, beautiful mazel, beautiful joy and jubilation. But until that time, may we use the vision of our future to give us chizuk in our present. Wishing everyone a wonderful day.